40% of people said they would rather choose Disney Plus.
Disney has these massive brands that have been building for decades. Netflix doesn't really have anything that can compete with that, even though they've been investing.
They're basically just a subscription-oriented movie studio that had better technology for distribution. There's no supply-side network effect, and that's their challenge. Another linear business that we've spoken about many times before, going to have a lot of problems because they're not a platform and competition is increasing, and that is Netflix. And so there's a recent kind of survey done where they were asking people how likely they would be to sign up for Disney Plus when that comes out in the near future. And so this said that 60% said they would keep Netflix over Disney Plus if they had to choose between the two. So what that also is saying is that 40% of people said they would rather choose Disney Plus, which, by the way, is cheaper.
And isn't even out yet.
It's not even out yet.
They're choosing a hypothetical product.
And I think it's $7 a month.
Right. I think the cheapest version is like $5 a month if you prepay a couple years ahead.
So they surveyed 400 Americans that are already streaming and asked them some more questions here. So about 2/3 surveyed said they intend to sign up for Disney Plus in November. It's a pretty big deal. And 60% of them said Marvel and Star Wars were the main drivers as to why they would sign up.
Original content. Disney has these massive brands that have been building for decades. Netflix doesn't really have anything that can compete with that, even though they've been investing in original content.
This is not good news for Netflix. And it really goes to show you how, as we've said before, Netflix is really just a movie studio. They've been able to get out ahead of the other movie studios like Disney and Time Warner and others, because they were first to digital and doing mobile and streaming. But they're basically just a subscription-oriented movie studio that had better technology for distribution. There's no supply-side network effect, and that's their challenge. As we've seen with movie studios, what makes a movie studio successful? Having hits. What makes Disney Plus successful? From this research, having hits like Marvel and Star Wars.
The fundamentals of the business are no different, even if the distribution mechanism has changed.
And we've seen that with Netflix's own numbers. Right. When they have hits, what happens to their boost in subscribers or fewer cancellations, right? It's the same thing around what are some of the biggest Netflix hits, right? It was
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, exactly. Ones. That had a huge impact on earnings.
Yeah.
There was the Kevin Spacey show that's no longer around.
House of Cards.
House of Cards, yep. Right? I mean, there is a direct correlation. Netflix is obviously familiar with this. That's why losing things like Friends and the very popular sitcoms were actually big problems for them. Right. And then they pannied up $500+ million or for one of the big sitcoms. And anyway, look, the streaming wars are heating up. Netflix is going to be a big loser. What does Netflix I think the big unknown for Netflix is what do they do internationally? Can they have a lot of growth internationally? And the challenge for them internationally is people don't pay as much money for streaming internationally as they do.
The competition isn't any easier there. If you look in India, where Netflix is more expensive than the competition, even though it's like a fraction of the cost there that it is here. They're competing with Amazon. Yep. They're competing with Reliance Jio, yep, which has its own streaming service, and there's several others. Yep. So it doesn't get any easier internationally than it does for Netflix here.
Yeah, and you need to also invest in local content,
right,
for all of these now new geographies, new cultures. Some of it is obviously can span all of them, like the mega hits like Marvel and Star Wars, right? So. We are not bullish on Netflix, if you can tell.
Last thing on Netflix, too, I saw a tweet this morning that apparently Disney has started essentially banning Netflix advertising on Disney properties. So that competition is already heating up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Disney Plus is coming out, about a month and a half from now? I think it's November 12th. So they're
right around when new Star Wars comes out.
Yeah, that's I think early December. Yep. And they're releasing a bunch of Star Wars shows on Disney Plus.
Yep. Hi, this is Alex Mozed. Thanks for joining us on Winner Take All. If you enjoyed the content today, which I bet you did, please comment, subscribe, and definitely message me on Twitter when we're doing live streams. Also, please note, all opinions expressed about stocks or public companies on the show are exactly that, opinions. This is not investment advice. Don't act on it. WisdomTree licensed Applico's Platform Insights data product to aid in the creation of the PLAT ETF. Thanks for joining us.